Hi there, my name's Jarno Schweitzer, also known as junglejarno. I grew up in Malaysia where I went to the jungle a lot, and it inspired me so much because it was so beautiful, so many different life forms in there that fitted so well together, so many surprises, and the whole thing was self-sustaining. So that inspires me a lot, and that's why I call myself junglejarno. So let me take you on a tour of my world. This is a love letter that I wrote to myself so that I don't forget about that little seed inside of myself. That symbol is the symbol that I developed when I got more creative and less destructive. I was a bit of a unhappy young man, and when that symbol came to me, which arose out of drawing a peace sign out of one line, I started doing work in creatively. So this is my questioning. This metal plate on a brick wall with lots of screws shows the way that we should go in life. That's what we should do. That's how we should do it. Some celebrate, some have to be pulled, some worship that building that we have to fit into our concepts, our constructs. And some people make friends in there, some people just work in there, some people they need to escape and fly out of that place. And then they fly out into this place where there's this magical cloud of creativity, organic magic where they celebrate. And for me, that is, well, finding my own way, making my own way, and trying to make a difference on the planet through the way that I do things. So, this is me at a beautiful river near my place, which is probably the longest wild river in Switzerland, making a little, design. You'll see what I did. I'll show you here. This is the flyer for a nature immersion journey that I do. Well, it's about getting physically fit, mindfulness, and coming forward in your own life. So there's that reflection in the water, that's the potential, and around the little seeds, the seeds which we can sow in our life. Here's an old t-shirt that I did. It's a skull with a bird singing in it. So death of the old and coming of the new. Frogman rejoicing the rising of the sun. Batik, early one. Another early batik shirt. I've still got that. It's about 30 years old now. The colors are still good. With a lot of different symbols in there. Of course, earth symbol, which has always been very important to me since I was young. A more recent one, which I did, the flow of life, the freedom of life, the constraint of life, and the trumpet which blows out your soul. So here's some batik I did, one of the nicest ones, inspired by calligraphy, Chinese, Arabic, and symbolizing the flow of water. Out of that, I created this on the computer, which I'd love to put on some leggings once, or a shirt. And then a more conventional version, the same design, put through a different filter and worked on to make an all-over design for a ski jacket. So that's part of it. Another part of my creation is in the area of found objects. Obviously, I like to recycle and I love nature. So This is a wind direction show. What do you call it? Thing which shows the wind direction. You see the coral at the back, bit of a plastic container that I cut up, some rope that I found afloat, and the propeller blades, which are also made from a plastic container. It actually does turn in the wind and points to the direction where the wind's coming from. This is some styrofoam that I found on an island in Sicily, and I made it into a net. Sold that at an exhibition of found objects that I did once. This is when I went to Cairns in Australia for the Enviro Fiesta happening. I went basically with not much in my pocket and just created works from found objects. Here you can see broken glass, all bit of a machine and some leaves. I also created this jellyfish, and I also created this bird, which I really love. It's about 3 meters high. And we ended up, well, excuse me, just lost the words. We did an auction of the pieces that I made, some money going to the organization and some for my travels. Here's a cocoon I made, and this cocoon is about 4 meters long. It's got a mirror light inside, a mirror globe inside of it with a spot on it. So in the night, the whole form glows and there's moving little dots of light inside of it. This is again another sculptural form, which was a lampshade form. It can also be used to construct kind of dwellings or little exhibition or immersive spaces within festivals. This is my actual project. It's called City Tribal. The premise is, or the concept behind it is, imagining I was a tribal man who suddenly ended up in the city, still living his way of life in the way of making things out of the objects that he finds. Not buying stuff like we do in our modern culture. And this would probably be made of bamboo, sticks, and on top of those forms, there would be PET bottles cut into tiles to make it all waterproof. I'll show you a better mock-up of that. Here's just a wall that I made once of packaging of computer components, which I got from a factory. And this would be it'd probably look a bit better than that, but that's a mock-up of the PET bottle tiles on those constructions, which I showed before. Now let's go to the mock-up. But first, the little men, the little spirits that came from the lake to come and inform us, to tell us, to inspire us to take care of nature. This will be part of an exhibition, but let's go to the main point here. Here we are. It was a mock-up of the City Tribal project. As you see, there's a main area here, which is 4 doorways leading to the separate domes that are around there. So I would like to build this in a kind of a, what do you call it? In German we call it urchig, kind of raw way. Could imagine making geodesic domes, but I want a contrast against this square regularity. And within these domes, well, look, you got the connections between them. Here you got wires, but that'd be a domed walkway, which would ensure that people keep dry and also to establish a connection between the different domes. Within these domes, different artists can take their place. Thematically, excuse me, my brain. No. Thematically, everything would be directed towards regenerative practices in terms of recognizing that this planet that we live on is not infinite in its resources. There'd be poetry, music, film, sculpture, whatever fits into the theme of making people more attuned to the reality which we actually live in, not the one that we've created, so that we can create a new one. Yes, that's what I want. So anyone interested in any of this, any of these possibilities, feel free to contact me. Have no fear. junglejarno.com. I live in Switzerland at the moment, so that's where it's going.